I'm empty. Don't like a thing I'm empty. Don't like a thing I'm empty. So slide across my hood and what do I see? Sure as hell the peeping Tom is looking at me. So I simply accidentally, carelessly drop my dressing gown for him to see. So peeping Tom keep on looking at me. Peeping Tom, tell me what do you see? What do you see? What do you see? What do you see? What do you see?
And we had to have music. I mean, you wouldn't want things to get dreary, would you? So just to keep everybody awake, sort of, I asked a couple of the boys in the band to drop over too.
There's a peeping Tom sat outside my window. He's been there for days. And now it's only gotten on to Sunday, and I think it's time to play. 'Cause there is nothing more that I like than to be seen. Open up your eyes real wide, 'cause peeping Tom, I got a big surprise. So I slide across the hood, and what do I see? Sure as hell the peeping Tom is looking at me. So I simply accidentally, carelessly drop my dress.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Talkback Rocket League. I can tell it just blew Unthink's ears absolutely away. He did not see that coming whatsoever. What do you see? What do you see? What do you see? This is a dope track. This is so good. This is just jam to this all day. Like, just keep talking. We're just gonna listen to Electro Swing on that. Just gotta bop to it, baby. As soon as I'm gonna do Jill Speaks here and Unthink unmute his mouth here. There we go.
Did you have my mouth muted again?
What do you mean again? You're the one who muted me. That's what I'm talking about. Oh my goodness. Again, ladies and gentlemen, what is up? This is I call this is a special episode because we've never had a pigeon on the show before. He's
What?
not on his head. He's disguised as a human right now. And his name...
Yeah, I'm wearing my human mask.
Yeah, and actually I have you guys' names switched. I gotta fix that. It's not
That's-
Cloudfuel actually in that
good.
spot. That is Jamesbot. And Jamesbot, who was actually like not there, that's Cloudfuel. And yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that's it. We got a
I'm
lot
mixing
on the
up
show
the
for you guys today. We always start these things off super strong. And Cloudfuel and Jamesbot both here. It's really Cloud's here. Cloud, you're basically our third host. You're basically like the unofficial host of the Talkback at this point. This is like your what? Your
Yeah, pretty
seventh? Your seventh show now with us here.
I've stopped. Yeah, I've just
We
stopped.
keep trying to replace him, and we haven't found anybody, so we just keep bringing him back, and we're like, all right, well, I guess Cloud makes it work.
Why not?
You do make it
It's
work.
like what Justin Timberlake is to SNL, Cloudfuel is to the Talkback.
Exactly.
That's
Like,
perfect.
They're about equally as talented.
We need more dancing and song numbers. That's what we really need.
Yeah, and a lot more. No suits though.
Why do you have that? Why do you have that?
You said we needed it, so I provided it.
The better question is, why do you not have one? Unthink.
Yeah,
I
I
have an ocarina, but I don't have a kazoo, and I think that's important to have. We should get one. Jorby, can we
The Kazoo Squad. Let's go.
talk back expense reports? Kazoo.
Hey, I can hit the tax write off at the end of 2018. Two
Yeah, you
kazoos.
need a tax write-off for 99-cent full metal kazoo.
Hey man, every
That's a full
cent
metal.
counts.
That's good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's the important stuff. That's that sub money, baby.
That is indeed that sub money. So, Jamesbot and Cloudfuel, if you guys don't know who they are, then you probably don't tune into the show. But if you are a first-time viewer of the show, well, first of all, welcome. And if you are not too privy to the people in the scene, the people behind the scenes, I'm sure you know Jamesbot's face, but you might not be familiar with Cloudfuel. Actually, everyone's familiar with Cloudfuel at this point. So yeah. These guys, you know them both. I thought, behind the scenes guys, people don't typically know, but Cloud's not really technically. He's behind the scenes. Cloud is the
Well,
scene.
he was in that.
He is the
in
scene.
Video. The one that I produced.
Yes.
I think it's at like 22 million views on YouTube right now. It cost me about 300,000 to put that through production, so I'm sure everyone knows Cloud's face because he was like the last shot of that video. So
It's an important
very
shot
famous.
too. Good stuff.
It's the best shot. But they both work for Twitch, and obviously huge proponents, huge kind of cogs in the wheel that was the RLCS leading up to this point, and things are kind of changing moving forward. So we brought both of them on to kind of talk about, and I'm gonna let you guys lead the discussion here, just because you'll do it way better than we can, and we'll kind of just we'll chime in, but just where the partnership, not the partnership, where like the relationship with Twitch and Psyonix is now moving forward in 2018, and what your guys' roles are going to be at Twitch, because you guys are probably moving into a little bit more different roles there at Twitch. Excuse me, words are hard.
Yeah, and we'll start off by saying too that we're not speaking on behalf of Twitch. We're going to be just talking about like our personal experiences, and we can cover a lot of this stuff, but we are not really spokespeople for Twitch. We're not making a statement about any of this stuff. We're just sharing our experience and kind of like giving you guys a little bit of a window in our personal lives and what's been going on at Twitch. So Cloud, I don't know if you want to start.
They're lying. They speak directly for Jeff Bezos, and they're the spokesman, and they have got everything to say right now on the record. Let's get it real.
No.
I actually even have an Amazon box right here.
That proves it. That proves it. No one has those. That proves it.
But no. So I think even at the start though, people weren't as necessarily aware that Twitch was helping operate the RLCS. Even from the beginning, it was a partnership between Twitch and Psyonix to run the RLCS. And Psyonix, when they first started out, you didn't need to be an insider to know that they were a brand new company. The company experienced success that they weren't necessarily expecting. So what Twitch did at the beginning was come in and say, hey, we have the resources, we have the expertise to get your esports scene going at the highest level right now. So that's what Twitch did. And I was very lucky because I was brought in as talent for that. I was working in product development in Michigan, just doing RLC stuff on the weekend for fun when the RLCS happened. So I am forever grateful to Twitch and Psyonix for making that deal happen, because I think that partnership was key into elevating how good the RLCS esports scene was right out of the gate, because you see a lot of other games, it takes a long time. So now though, this is the first season that Twitch will not be helping make those operational decisions. That we are not involved in operations at all, where before we played a very, very large role. I think it just comes down to Psyonix thinking it's the right time. They've been experiencing the success for the game for a long time, and it's their game, right? Like if you imagine it, like you create something and you go partner with someone who did not create something, do you really think you're going to want to have full control over your baby, right? So it's a natural evolution, and I think it's just the time. Psyonix felt it was the time to really take this and take their vision and make what they want to make, because at the end of the day, Twitch and Psyonix, they have different things that drive their business. They have different things that motivate them. So Psyonix, they just they felt it was time, and I think it's going to be a very exciting thing to see what they do now that they have that full control. And I don't think it's a bad thing. I don't think anyone should panic. I think this is going to be a very exciting time for Rocket League. 2018 is going to be a year that big change will likely happen in Rocket League, and it's going to be, I feel.
And before I want to add on to that in just a second, but James, I'm pretty sure that right now you're using your webcam mic and not your studio mic. Otherwise something is terribly wrong.
He's using a lapel microphone that is hidden somewhere in his camera. You gotta find where it is.
It might be. It is using my here.
Ooh, say that again.
Gone. We lost him. That's what happened.
No, hang on.
And he's dead.
Jamesbot's ripped forever. He's a complete black
While
screen.
we figure that out, though.
Yeah, while he gets that.
Maybe you speak to a little bit about the transition, and because you've had such a large role with Rocket League Cloud, and it's been when we think about the voice of Rocket League in a lot of ways, you're a part of that. How do you feel right now? What does this transition mean for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be different, to say the least. I think for myself, like prior to being a part of Twitch, I was I was a part of this community pretty much from the beginning of Rocket League, and I have no intentions of leaving. So while I may not be officially a part of the RLCS or officially a part of esports for Rocket League, I definitely want to be a part of the community still. I think there's a lot that I can offer, whether that be advice or.
Is it working now?
Yep, you're good now. That sounds beautiful.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, Clyde, continue. Sorry about that.
No, just I mean, I think there's a lot that I could still offer to the community, whether it be advice or just helping to kind of lead the charge in some areas. Maybe I can start writing more. There's a lot more time for me to do things now than I had before. I've even thought about streaming, for example. So there's some cool stuff I get to do now that I wasn't able to do before. And like James said, I mean, to echo his sentiments, the plan was always for Psyonix to eventually take over. It is their game. Like it would just make sense for them to do so. They weren't in a place to do that in the early days, but they are now. They've been continuously building out their team. They recently added on Scheist, who's done wonders for this community. Excuse me. And if you've seen the career portal that they have 3 new positions out there. So they're looking to continue to build this team out. And, the foundation they have right now between Josh, Corey, and Scheist, I think is a solid one. I think there's some really great candidates from this community that could potentially be hired, and I certainly hope they do. And if that goes according to, if those people get hired, I think they're going to have a really rock solid group. And there's potentially people outside of the scene that they could grab as well to get some people that have a lot of experience and get them in-house to do things the Psyonix way. And kind of like James said, Psyonix and Twitch, we have kind of different goals. Thankfully, our goals were sort of symbiotic. We want to build the community just in general, and we want to obviously build it on Twitch. Well, it makes sense to do that because that's going to grow your viewership and it's going to get people involved, and it's going to just kind of explode your community and your game out to the highest level. And so that works obviously for the developer because they want to see the same sort of thing. So at this point now, it's like it's their baby. Like they've got to figure out where they want to take it and where they want to go with it. And James and I mean, we're going to be around. So there's definitely the opportunity that maybe we can collaborate with them. We still have Rocket League Central. So maybe there's some things that we can do there that could be collaborations with Psyonix. Maybe they bring on James to do some casting for them for events. I'm certainly open to being an advisor or helping them in any way. So it doesn't necessarily mean that we're done, we're out, we're no longer a part of the scene or no longer helping. It just means that there's a change, the changing of
the reins are all in the hands of Psyonix on where they want to go with it. So, so I like exactly like Cloud was saying, I'm still hoping to be an RLCS caster. Blake still has aspirations of being involved in the league ops side of it. So, Rocket League has been our passion. It's what got us into esports. I had a career in Michigan doing something completely unrelated, and what moved me out to California was Rocket League. So as long as I have the ability to be involved in Rocket League, I'm going to be involved.
I wanted to ask, what is your, I mean, just from a personal perspective, obviously not from a Twitch perspective, what's your confidence in Rocket League moving forward? I mean, we talked about this being a big year for Rocket League. Do you guys foresee a huge jump? Is this going to be, I mean, do you have any insight into that at all?
I think there's a few things that I'd like to see. I think Rocket League is a game that's going to be around forever. It's a new type of game, and they did it so well that I think this is going to keep growing. And if this game blows up in China and it blows up in other international areas, it's going to just make it have that much more of a foothold. And you see it all the time. And I see it all the time with the people that I talk to who come in and work on Rocket League stuff. Like I was talking with Aaron Soff from 705 Hollywood, the group that did the pro player spotlight videos. He started playing Rocket League after doing those videos and got addicted. This stickiness of the game is undeniable. So Rocket League is going to be around for a very, very long time. But what I want to see is I want to see the game start catering more to the content creators. We saw that video from John Sandman. I didn't necessarily agree with everything that he said, but I do think that there are some updates in Rocket League itself that could really help make content creation more interesting and make streaming more interesting to watch. Like the in-game tournaments, they already talked to us about an arena system, add the currency system in the game all the time so that people don't have to buy keys. They can earn it, kind of like in League of Legends. You just earn it, buy the decryptor, unlock a thing, maybe it trade locks it, whatever.
Or like Overwatch.
I would love to see
a lot of
those
games
type
do
of
that.
changes.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah. But Rocket League, I have no doubt that it is going to be a powerhouse esport for the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
Honestly,
I think it's pretty hard to. I was gonna say I think it's pretty hard to mess it up. Honestly, it's been on this trajectory even back before Twitch's involvement. James and I did a lot with RLC and with the community team to get things kickstarted. And we saw even then, before we had the big money and the big productions, we saw even then that like this is something, right? This is Rocket League. This is where this is going. And now you have so many other groups outside of Psyonix that are running productions. We saw E-League come in last year, and I imagine they're going to continue. Why wouldn't they? It was one of their most successful debuts. So I think there's a lot of people now are starting to give this community the respect that it deserves, which I'm really happy to see that we've gotten to that point. And it's only been 2 years. I mean, everybody kind of forgets how quickly things have changed in Rocket League and how far we've come in just a short period of time. I think there's definitely some opportunities here for Psyonix to kind of learn some things from the community. Kind of like James was saying, I'd love to see them get more involved with the community, with it, whether it be creators or tournament organizers or even the pros themselves. I'd love to see some focus groups with the pros to work on things specifically for them and the pro scene. On standard maps, potentially. I'd love to see, the Rocket Labs playlist, for example. Yeah. What if they did something where they incentivize you to play those maps by giving you free decryptors or free drops or something so that you play it? There's just a lot of things they could do, and it's just a matter of getting. I think it's them getting the experience and the knowledge and maybe building out the team. And it looks like they're continuously working on doing that. I know that they have I'm sure they have a lot of advisors. I've seen other organizations that have kind of reached out to them. I know at the World Championship, for example, Tencent was out there. Tencent's working with them on the Rocket League China. They're building the game out for China. So they've got a lot of big companies. And Tencent, for those of you who don't know, is a massive organization. They own Riot.
They own China technology.
They
own
aren't they like
social media in China. When you talk about the heavy software side of China, when you talk about servers in China, you think about Tencent. You think about every single software as a service. Tencent runs a ton of that.
Right, and they also do a lot in esports. They've committed to $15 billion over the next couple of years in esports, and they own Riot, they own Supercell, they own Epic Games, or they at least have majority shares in all these games. And now they're working with Rocket League in China, and they've also said that they want to get PUBG. Yeah, and Hi-Rez as well. So they've got their hand in a lot of big esports, and I mean, I don't know what the future is for Psyonix and what that means. I just know that company is synonymous with a lot of the biggest and best companies in esports, and Psyonix is one of them. So that bodes well.
And I mean, just looking at the viewership numbers from RLCS, I think we're starting to see a little bit of a pattern where there's more viewership in the spring-summer season than there is in the winter season. But looking at just the numbers from the first two seasons to the next two, massive jumps. We hit 89K our first World Championship, and then we broke 200K in season 3. So just insane numbers, insane growth. And Twitch is still going to be working with Psyonix on the integration side of things. Twitch and Psyonix still working together from that standpoint. So the drops and things like that, we're going to be able to see more of, which will be awesome. But Rocket League has just been experiencing major growth. It's still massive, even on YouTube. You see John Sandman and Neat Mike, Sizz now, Rizzo. Those guys are just have a huge following. And Rocket League has just cemented itself as in my opinion, it's a matter of time before everyone thinks it's tier 1.
There are even some YouTubers that have been making Rocket League videos for a while that have kind of upticked in subscribers. Not kind of the mid-level YouTubers, like in the 20, 30, 40,000 subscribers, and they're getting tens of thousands of views on their videos, and they do Rocket League content. There's some lesser known names out there as well, but it just seems to keep increasing. We've talked a lot about the content creation side in terms of I've complained about montages, I think about 1,000 times, and that I'd love to see more meaningful content, and I think we're starting to get more of that in a lot of different ways. But I also think that those montages are also getting better because people are doing them in different ways that make them not as boring to watch. So it's just a matter of how you present content and who's presenting the content and how many people are presenting the content, and it's pretty great. I really love where it's headed in terms of that. Circling back a little bit, I did want to kind of tag on another point. Psyonix owning Psyonix's baby, basically having their baby to themselves again, is I've thought about it a lot, and this is where I've always kind of wanted things to eventually go anyway, because once you get the ball rolling in-house, it just seems to operate better. I think Riot is a great example of that. Just being able to have that full control and being able to operate, and like anyone you want involved with the LCS, look, come in here, you now work for Riot, boom, and it's easier to, from a logistics standpoint, it's just easier. That's it. That's all I have.
I mean, you're definitely more aligned, right?
Yeah.
You're all of your goals, everything is more aligned because you're not having to try to fit the initiatives of 2 different companies or 3 or however many. So I definitely agree with you from that standpoint. Things will be a lot more streamlined. But Riot is a very big company. Psyonix, they're not nearly as big right now.
Right.
So it's gonna be tough. But they have been with us those first 4 seasons. They know what it takes to run it. And you saw the postings. They're gonna be bringing on more people. But this season, I would expect it's probably gonna be pretty quiet in terms of major changes as they staff up. To really get the ball rolling. But I think that's a valid point. I think that, now that it's all in-house, we might see more drastic changes that have, deeper impact within the game client itself, like things maybe that we haven't seen, like team skins or something of the like, maybe some kind of in-game viewer where you can watch games that are happening like in Counter-Strike. So yeah, I think it'll be an exciting time to see how they react to this full ownership.
So you think more so 2019 is when we'll start seeing the effects of Psyonix kind of bringing everything?
Yeah, I mean maybe even beyond. Like it takes a lot of time because not only do you have to find good candidates, you have to bring them in. They have to learn the business. They have to learn about the company. They have to learn the lay of the land as far as the esports scene is for the game. So. I think by the end of this year, maybe the start of next, we might see some crazy, like some more epic changes. But I think it's going to take them a little bit to get the people that they need. But still, they have a really solid team. It's just there's a lot of work that goes into running the RLCS, and they're not even just doing the RLCS. They did E-League, Universal Open, DreamHacks. There's a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, it's interesting because from an operational perspective, if you think about how Psyonix will have to function moving forward, when they bring in new people, when they start bringing in new ideas, they've not only got to take those original goals and concepts from a high level company corporate level, they've now got to push that down into the more tactical side and say, okay, now that we have this strategy and we want to implement it, how do we do that? We have to whiteboard a new strategy. We have to start thinking, okay, we no longer have external partners. How do we source a lot of this work? How do we implement a lot of these plans without the use of external partners? And that's tough. Having third parties there does loosen a little bit of the work for them, does lighten a little bit of that load. But what it really does for them is it gave them an opportunity to expand. And now that they've expanded, they have to act as if they're still in that expansion phase, but on their own. It's a challenge. I think that operationally they have a more streamlined process, but at the same time, they're going to have to figure out internally, we have strategy, we have goals, we have our one vision, we are our unified vision. How do we implement that? And how do we implement it successfully in a short time frame? Because if you think about it, realistically, this will be the first season they do without Twitch. Now they have to think, okay, after this season, how do we really turn the gears? How do we really start continuing and innovating and growing? because you can't stay stagnant when you're in this phase, right? This is the big part is they've got to be able to grow this company's ideas.
Run the business versus new development or new change. Run the business.
Run, grow, transform, right?
Yep.
They ran, now they got to grow, and now 2018 is the year they start to transform, and 2019 will be the year they start to transform this.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's gonna be fun to see. But Cloud, do we want to talk about what we're doing outside of this now?
I
New
want
roles.
Yeah, let's give new roles at Twitch. Let's go, Cloud. What are you guys doing? Give me the dates, or at least some of them.
Yeah. So at this point, I can't say what. I have to keep it, kind of private. I can't go too far in depth with what I'm doing. But
the Cloud Can't See is brought to you only on the talkback.
So as of right now, I mean, we're doing a little bit of wrap up on the Rocket League program. A lot of learnings from the Rocket League program, and it's just analysis and reports for that. But kind of moving forward, I am looking to get into potentially another game. I'm also looking to potentially work with James on helping to kind of grow tournament organizers and just inform people that are using our platform. So I think he and I have a lot of history together and a lot of chemistry. So I think there's a lot of cool stuff that he and I can do together to help not only Twitch and Twitch esports, but help people in the various communities that all are encompassed within Twitch. But for me, potentially got a new game that I'll be working on, and I'm really excited to see how this works out. Still kind of under wraps. Hopefully we get everything locked down and I'll be able to announce it. I think it'll be really exciting.
I'm so excited for Stardew Valley Esports, baby.
Been
waiting for years here. Ready to plant. Who can plant more turnips than you in 1 year? You find out next season, 2018 quarter 3.
Competitive Stardew would just kill the entire point of that game. It's like the most casual, enjoyable experience that you could ruin farming forever.
Yeah, I'm gonna spoil the surprise. It's RuneScape.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Not 3D RuneScape, 2D RuneScape. The good one.
I will say though that esports is, a lot of people have esports pegged as like one specific path. I think we'll find in 2018 while Psyonix is doing their transforming. We're hoping to do some of that as well with Twitch. We see esports as a kind of a multifaceted thing. You can have it be this highest level of competition and who's going to win the world championship and all this craziness, but you can also have it be more streamer focused, and you can have it be more of a kind of a fun competitive atmosphere. And that was something that we did with the 6-man streamer showdown that we had at the end of the last year. And those are things that I personally would love to see more of. And I think, James and I are kind of working on pitching things like that for potentially some other games. So, I think there's definitely the potential that we'll see esports on Twitch kind of changing, maybe not changing, but you'll see a few different faces of esports and a few different angles of seeing what esports is and how it relates to
and support at all the different levels, different levels, from the individual broadcaster up to the tier 1 TOs like DreamHack. So it's gonna be fun.
So what about you, James? What are you doing?
So for me, before, I'll just talk about a little bit what I did before and what I'm going to do now. So before I was on the team with Blake, we kind of all served as, consultants and kind of the people making and running things behind the scenes. So I played a role in making overtime, proposing the RLRS, working with Cloud on all that kind of stuff. But my main responsibilities was around talent, making sure the talent had contracts, talent's travel, lodging was booked. Everything was good to go around that. It was awesome. It was also quite an experience. I'm very glad I had it over this past year. Working at Twitch was awesome. But now I'm going to be, my title's changing. I don't know exactly what it's going to be called, but I'm going to start learning more about creating success metrics for programs running at Twitch and learning how to measure success and report on the success of programs and initiatives at Twitch. And then also a project that I'm leading up is creating educational material around broadcasting esports content as an individual broadcaster or as an esports community. So one of the things I really learned over my time casting and Evolve before this, coming on with Cloud, working with Cloud in Rocket League Central, creating Gold Rush, putting on all these events, I learned a lot of stuff. Even working on the RLCS, you learn how to talk to the players, learn how to run the tournaments, you learn how to run these broadcasts, you learn how to talk to sponsors, you learn how to do so many things that are required to be successful. And I want to start sharing that with people from Twitch and tell people what they can do to get support from Twitch. So I'm going to be working on creating a bunch of material that will essentially tell someone, or if you are interested in esports, I can give you some educational material to help you become a player in the esports scene, because that's what I did. That's what Cloud did. That's what you guys are doing. And we've all had opportunities professionally in the esports industry. So it's kind of just trying to share that knowledge, get it out there, start conversations, find those hidden Cloudfuels, find those hidden, Jorbies, those unthinks that have the passion, but they don't necessarily know what the specifics are to become part of the scene. And also, as part of that, we will have legitimate Twitch support on the table. So people who want to come in, learn, and actually do this work to put on these esports broadcasts or run these events, Twitch can give you the prize pool money. We can fly me out there to help you set up your equipment and show you how to do this stuff. So Twitch really cares about the individual broadcasters, cares about the community, and that is going to be one of that project is what I'm really, really excited about, and that's probably going to be eating up most of my time this next year.
That sounds like a
love
really exciting project.
That
Seriously, that sounds amazing. I can't wait for you to get started on that.
It'll be fun. It's something that at my previous job, I used to work at a company called Steelcase. It's an office furniture manufacturing company that also has a technology business, and I was on the technology team, and we were developing technology products. And part of that involved training dealers, because Steelcase sold everything through an independent dealer network. You have these people who generally work only with furniture, having to deal with technology. And part of my role there was running classes to help train our dealers on how to use the tech products. So I'm not starting from scratch, but it is definitely going to be a new experience for me creating this kind of stuff. And I'm hoping that it's a success. I hope that people enjoy it, because I would love to even go to like TwitchCon and bring out people, maybe even bring people from the community into the Twitch office and really start, empowering people to make these awesome esports broadcasts.
That's seriously awesome.
They figure out how to gas up the office, Jorby. They want you in there.
something gas and plays in offices. Seriously, guys, moving forward, whatever you guys are going to be doing at Twitch, with what you had told us and whatever you can't tell us, I'm
pumped.
We're both super pumped for you guys. Not many people, obviously, there's only so many people in my sphere of influence in Rocket League, but not many are deserving of just being able to move on to awesome projects like you guys will be. So super excited for you. Tournament updates, and James, I know that you wanted to talk about two specifically, so we're actually going to get into those and talk about them a little bit. So the AFK GG LAN on January 28th in none other than San Jose, California. Do you want to tell us a little bit about this? Because this was like the first thing you mentioned as soon as you got in the car. You're like, I want to talk about this.
Yeah. So Subin actually hit me up about this. There's a group of like Grand Champ level players here in the Bay Area. Overzero is actually out here. Some of you may or may not know. Overzero, Moopy, Subin, Eddie, Kairos. Eddie is also known as Liquid. There's Subin, I think I might have already said him, but we're all out here and we're all going down. There's probably going to be more people, but it's a 2v2 tournament going down this Sunday in San Jose. I'm driving down there. I don't really have any hopes of winning. I think me and Moopy have a good chance at it, but we're just going down there to hang out, be with the other, Rocket League players who just enjoy the game. And we're going to play in the tournament and then afterwards just hang out and talk. And Overzero said he might go, so that would be cool to hang out with the Season 1 world champion. I hope he does show up, but it's just going to be a good time. I haven't been to one of these events myself, but I hope to see people out there, especially if they're thinking about coming to the Gold Rush meet and greet. So, maybe I can skip you to the front of the line if I see it at FKGG as well.
The
Wheaton.
special VIP line brought to you by none other than Pigeon Man himself. I like it.
That's right.
I like it.
I gotta ask about the deets on this one. So it's a $15 entry fee per player. I'll never be able to get it.
Is it?
So
I haven't even looked.
Yeah. So
I
I'll
would
get.
be paying.
It's 2v2s, so I like that. So really, it cuts the cost down a little bit there. There's the cost-saving maneuvers already in play. But I love any LAN you want to put on. I'm all about that. I love
For
this
sure.
setup.
Yeah, even if you're not even coming to play, like you're just coming to hang out, that would be. Cool.
Isn't the
Those
best
smaller
part
LAN
that
events?
It has a Facebook page with updates, but all right, so all the information about the tournament is great, but the best part about Facebook is it tells you the weather at the location is going to be, so I know what to wear to the event. I know how I'm going to
Yeah,
dress.
it's gonna be sunny. It's
46 to
California,
68 and partly cloudy, guys. If you have never been to California, that's every day. But it'll be a lot of fun there. And there's there's a lot of people local in that area. Chimblade's in that area actually, and a couple other folks who are in the San Jose, Silicon Valley area. So that's gonna be, I'm excited. That's a lot of fun. I heard about this today, by the way, so I'm learning a whole lot of information right now.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be good. I'm going because I like to compete in tournaments, but I really am just excited to see all the players and just hang out afterwards. That's going to be a lot of fun. We're all sticking around afterwards and hanging out, so hope to see people there.
Yeah, if you're in the area, definitely check. If you've never been to a LAN event, the smaller LAN events are the best ones to go to because just the people make LANs, and if you have the chance to go, if you have the $15, you want to play, go spend it. Have the time of your life. It's absolutely great time. And now look. They're in chat.
So Sunday.
This is probably Furtive. This is probably Furtive or Corelli. I don't know which one.
Ooh.
Either way, Furtive.
Is he in there again?
Furtive continues to not make it onto the show, and I'll make fun of him every week we don't have him
well,
on.
Well, Furtive is a busy man now. Corelli doesn't do anything.
Corelli doesn't. He did. By the way, I don't know if
he's like, I don't like this Rocket League stuff anymore.
I don't know if you know, James, but Corelli won Worst Guest of the Year in 2017 on the Talkback.
I'm not surprised. I didn't hear about it. I'm definitely not surprised.
Corelli, he doesn't share that trophy too often.
It's his own.
He can. The one thing that he excels at is continually underperforming. That is his trademark.
Oh man!
I don't know how he does it so consistently.
Corelli, if you're still listening, and I know you are, we'll have to have you on next week. Just so you can have a retort that James will never listen to.
No, he has the attention span of a squirrel. Like someone's gonna have to message Corelli and be like, "Hey, they're talking about you," and then he would come back because he doesn't do any of that work himself. He relies on others.
Yeah, he does need the notifications. Those are important for him. Those are critical.
Hey, but I mean, Gold Rush hit all of their competitive player goals. That's awesome. And James, you're kind of one of the masters behind the scene here. So again, man, I'll let you go loose here. Tell me what else do we have in store? We already got everyone in. There's nothing left. Why do I care?
There is things left. There's things left. Tell them about the things
one thing. I know.
There is. So today we had the one of the things we're gonna do this year too. And if anybody who bought the previous like the premier items, like the pigeon mask and the hard hat, if they're out there and they hear this, reach out to me. We're going to start creating certificates of authenticity for those items.
Yes. Wait a minute.
So just wait a little bit. So it's going to have the Doge all over it. It's going to be a very good, awesome certificate of authenticity, so that not only do you have the signed items, but you have the certificate. So if somebody really wants to try hard and circumvent the purchase process for the item, you won't have the certificate of authenticity. So it's just that much of a nice add-on for those guys. But someone already bought the foam hat by Jacob. We will be having one other special item. There still is a few more signed items for sale. I think all the posters are gone. But yeah, we hit all the reward levels for these guys. We actually have a lot of the resources we need to put this event on. So now we try to do it as professionally as we can. So all the proceeds we get at this point just go into making the event better. Like instead of ordering a Domino's pizza, maybe we can actually get people Chipotle instead. But I think it's pretty certain that Gold Rush is going to be happening no matter what. But yeah, it's been an incredible amount of support. We're really excited to do this, and it's going to be bigger and better this year, 100%. We have locked down a venue in the East Bay that is 100% better. 100% better. Before, if you didn't know, Gold Rush was run in my 1,000 square foot apartment.
I think that's part of the charm that people loved about that. Honestly,
I did like that. I love the cams around the corner of people like walking through the kitchen of the place. Like that was.
But hey, I will definitely take a better venue. That's my person. I'm just saying that other people
we're gonna still have that feeling. It's just that there will be bedrooms for people to sleep in.
What were they? Hold on. What were they doing before? How did we handle this before?
They were sleeping in the kitchen. Man.
I went out on Amazon and bought several inflatable chairs that fold out into bed, and people were sleeping everywhere. You
paid their way and they still had to sleep on inflatable chairs?
Okay, to give you some idea, we had to fly everyone out and fund everything. It was like I think we had about $10,000 to do everything for everyone's flights, everyone's food.
I can see that. Okay. Huh.
So it was a shoestring budget, but all the pros were super cool about it. And our whole goal from the beginning was run an awesome event so that we can get more support. And we actually do have some support from some companies. It's still under wraps right now, but we do have some support from some companies that are allowing us to actually have a venue and actually provide beds for everyone. Everyone's going to have a bed. And everyone's going to be able to eat 3 meals a day. So we're really excited about that.
You hear that, guys? They're probably all like, I don't know, we're going to do Gold Rush again. And James is like, guys, listen, beds and food.
You guys get food
like,
this time.
Oh my God, that changes everything. And
I'm in.
I love that, though. No, we gave Gold Rush Event of the Year for our awards because we love the feel and the rush. No, but the passion put into Gold Rush is so community driven. We love everything about this. So anything you guys can do to improve it this year, I think Jorby and I are extremely excited to see what you guys do.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're still so grateful for all the support from the community. Literally, Gold Rush would never have happened if people did not support it from this community. This was 100% community made, and we're still striving to be what Gold Rush 1 was. We want to just make that even better in Gold Rush 2. And if anything, for Gold Rush 3, we want to be able to bring out more pros from different regions and be able to have a bigger, better meet and greet. So we're really, really hoping that we can meet the needs of the community. And honestly, if people don't like it anymore, they'll just stop supporting the compendium and Gold Rush will stop happening. We do it as a passion project out of love. So, we're going to keep trying to deliver and have these fun events for people. And we are doing the meet and greet again. It's most likely going to be on February 8th at the Razor store in San Francisco, probably around 7:00 p.m.
Well,
if you want to catch all your favorite pros before the rosters lock for RLCS, go ahead and do that the day before. That's pretty. And so I wanted to talk about the cool stuff that you guys gave away as part of the Gold Rush 2 shop, because there was some really cool stuff you guys had in there that's sold out. A lot of the good stuff, there's still a couple things left, but like, you had the foam hat for $300 signed by everyone. That's super cool. That's sold out so quickly.
Yeah, there was and even last time, like the signed posters, pay for this event 10 times over the signed posters, and thankfully they're the easiest thing to sign. But we add some new items from last time. The last shop for Gold Rush 1, we only had T-shirts, hoodies, posters, and then the controllers and the special items. Now. We actually added Switch controllers as well as Xbox. Nobody's bought them. They've only bought the PS4 one, so I think we know what Rocket League players like most. Yeah. But the new items are the snapback, and we actually have 2 different color T-shirts now, and we're doing a different color hoodie.
Out of me. You got the snapback.
I love it. There's 2 left. 2 signed snapbacks. What does it say? Late? What's it? I don't know the difference. I guess, but there's only 2 left.
So the way it works for Gold Rush is the shop is only open for the funding period. We do not have a shop that's open 24/7. You can only get these Gold Rush items while we're funding the event. The items that are signed, we have last chance items, and we actually, I think, are closing the signed items on Friday. So maybe even tomorrow. Furtive will be able to announce that because we have to get those shipped to us to sign for the event. So we need to know how many to produce to ship to us by the event date. But we had an early chance, which is a discount. You know, the early signed posters were $40. The standard signed posters were $50, and then the late were $60. So as soon as those items run out, the late is the final batch that you can purchase. As soon as those are out, they're out. Done.
Oh man, you gotta bring them to an event or something to get them signed.
Money,
otherwise,
get your money in.
Now
there.
I gotta tell you, the certificates are gonna be important because I gotta tell you, when I was 7 years old, my dad gave me a Deion Sanders poster that was signed after the back-to-back Super Bowls, and I was so excited, and I couldn't resist like telling everyone about it. Years later, he told me his coworkers signed it, so I need a certificate from now on because I don't trust anything. What a monster! What a monster! I have problems now. Therapy is not working. Sorry, I got hot, but I'm just saying.
You know what?
It's
I
awesome.
understand. I understand now how you ended up the way you were.
It all makes sense now, right?
This all makes sense to me.
Together.
I do have one question for you, James. So
What's up?
we know that the format is going to be different with elected captains and drafts and draft picks, but you also said that it's not the only format change. Is there anything that you can possibly give us in terms of what else we might be seeing at Gold Rush this year? Are we holding strong?
Yes. So I can tell you, I'll confirm a few things here and let people speculate, but we will have European broadcasting talent that has been unannounced in attendance.
Ooh.
There will be at least one, maybe two. We're waiting to see how things unfold. But we are guaranteed to have at least one European broadcasting talent. It's probably someone you might not expect, but we're excited about that. As far as format goes, we do have some exciting things in store. Last Gold Rush, we saw 1v1s, 2v2s, 3v3s. You can expect the same this time around, but we're changing up how the captains are going to be elected. We even might put a little bit of democracy into the situation with Twitch chat being able to vote like we saw in the RLRS about who do you think is going to win. Well, we can use that technology to further influence the format and what's going on in Gold Rush. And then also six mans has been very popular. We have a plan to work that into the format as well. But what you can get excited about is that there will be teams that will be elected by a captain that will be generating nuggets all weekend long. And one of these teams is going to go home as the Gold Rush champions.
Yeah. I like it.
Love it.
I
Everything
like it.
about this.
Unexpected,
is so cool. Guys,
unexpected,
I'm gonna
unexpected
post the
European
shop one more
talent.
time.
Wait.
Or if you were to
Wait,
sell
wait,
your,
wait,
shop,
wait,
something.
wait.
What?
Wait.
What?
Why do you just start running away when I wanna look at
wanted to
something?
put it in
I'm
the-
still
put
window
it in the
shopping. There might be this thing I want to buy, and you just want to go. I'm still here,
They
and
want it.
and
They
you
need
just
it.
ignore
It's
me.
there.
You just ignore
There's
me.
a lot of
This is what happens. This is what happens on this show.
Thinking about,
Mom and Dad fighting again.
This is what happens.
One more thing too. I already signed up giving a Gold Rush 1 poster away for Sizz. I have like 5 or 6 more Gold Rush 1 posters that were extra that I took that I had purchased for decorating the apartment. And so we're thinking about maybe giving those away. So we'll see how much buzz we can generate. They're one of a kind. You literally can't get any more. There's 6 left in the world that have been unclaimed. So we'll see. Maybe we can get something going with that.
You don't get as rare as that. Go follow Gold Rush GG on Twitter, and if you haven't looked at it, we did post that Smash GG link to get all of the rewards and all of the things you can buy for Gold Rush 2. Cannot wait. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. Moving on, unless we have any final words about Gold Rush, James, or are you done selling out? We literally brought
February
Jamesbot
9th
on
through
to just talk about Gold Rush. That's it.
February 9th through 11. Remember it.
Boom. Right before those RLCS or RLRS signups are locked. And boy, that will be a fun time indeed. Throwdown OCE Open Series and RLCS events. It was announced. There is an Octane GG article. Unthink if you can post that in chat for me. That would be absolutely beautiful. Woo. The OCE Championship for Throwdown this year is $25,000. And Throwdown, obviously, the pretty much RLCS Australia for all intents and purposes. And just not under the official umbrella. RLCS just kind of takes the top 2 from that league and then brings them over. So $25,000 prize pool for that. I think we're expecting. I'm trying to catch up on my Australian teams, man. I'm trying. It's
There's only one that you need to know.
besides Chiefs.
The others are
Everyone
catching up,
knows
but
Chiefs
they're
at this
really
point.
the Chiefs are so they gap the margin is just so far ahead right now. I would love to see the other teams catch up. I'm trying to think. There's really four. There's four big ones. Chiefs is one. Tainted, dark-sided.
The teams that were invited it says Chiefs, Tainted Minds, and Dark-sided.
Yeah.
And there's a fourth.
Scylla broke up, if I recall correctly. They were the fourth one.
Yeah, they did.
And and basically, Tainted Minds is CJ, Kami, and Jules. So it's most of the Pale Horse lineup that we saw before. And CJ, that guy is amazing.
That guy has a special place in my heart. I love that man.
He is something.
So much. And that's our best. Honestly, some of our best personalities come out of the OCE region. So we need to get more of them. That's all I'm saying. If you ever watched the CJ stream, he's great. And if you haven't, go watch it. So be sure to look out for that if you're up at for God knows what hour on this side of the water. The Ting Open happened, and the Ting Open is the newest qualifiers is Team Envy and Fnatic. So Fnatic ended up taking this one, and after I believe it was the Hyper Cup that they didn't perform well in. Actually, a lot of teams we would expect to perform well didn't perform well in that tournament. But the Ting Open, hosted by Axel Toss, those are that was the first European qualifier, and those two teams took it. So now we have Cloud9, Equinox, FlyQuest, Team Dignitas, formerly Applesauce. Get to that later. Team Envious, Fnatic, and we have two more spots that will belong to the second EU qualifier, getting those teams in there. So the Ting Open really turning into something really special, which makes me really happy in terms of like the teams involved. Super happy for Axel Toss, who just like was able to put this together. And as far as I know, he's the one who's kind of making it all happen. And I really love the turnout he's gotten for it as far as the top teams go.
Yeah, it really a fantastic example of, taking it upon yourself to run an esport event. Axel Toss by himself worked to find a sponsor to get this tournament going, and look at how it's turning out. Really, really awesome. And I agree. I think it does have this special feel. People are invested, and I cannot wait to see how it all plays out. Fnatic looked really good. Fnatic to me is that story in OC or in EU that I am really following.
Right there with you.
I love Snasky. I love Maestro Siki. He's just all quiet but so fearsome, and he's experienced a lot of setbacks, but still always comes back swinging. I love watching Fnatic, and I hope that's my favorite team going into this tournament. But it really is pretty awesome. Axel Toss deserves a round of applause, and hopefully he finds better Wi-Fi so he can watch this and enjoy the compliments.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely shows that, like, you can, as an individual, you can have, a vision for how these things go, and if you find the right people to partner with, you can make it happen. Like I don't know if there's it's public, but Shift Pro League, they partner with them for the production, so you're seeing a lot of really high level stuff going on there, and just the combinations they put together with getting Gibbs involved and Shogun and just everybody behind the scenes that's working to make this thing what it is has just been really awesome to see.
Absolutely. And for Fnatic, if they win nothing else, for me, they win the most handsome team in Rocket League. Have you seen those men?
Yeah,
Those
no,
are
it's
beautiful men.
that could be the team. That could be the face of Rocket League esports when it
That
comes
could be
to
the
teams.
cross-arm team
Fnatic.
of here.
Fnatic tweeted out a photo of the three of them, and I was like, wait, that's a good-looking team.
I want to
they're
see
so
Nasty
pretty.
with the arms behind his back, so he's like flexing his pecs.
Yeah, you got to get the broad chest out.
Yeah. He doesn't need to
Snasky,
do
you really
this. He
can't
doesn't need to
really
complete the
handle.
guts.
You can't understand and fully comprehend the Snasky gains until you're with him in person, and then you really understand. Like, yes, you are a man. That's it. Anyways, before it gets any weirder. That is the Ting Open Axel Toss.
We could even make it weirder.
There's
no way we can make it weirder. We could dial it back. What if we what if we rolled it back here? So college carball spring schedule started or was announced, and they put up their stuff. Again, they did. Was last season their second season, or was that their third season? Does anyone remember?
For the leftovers?
For college
college carball. Third.
Not the other run by TESPA, the other one.
Not
College
CRL.
Carball.
CCA.
Yeah, CCA.
It's the community version of that.
Yeah. And they start the invitational starts later this month, in actually 2 days, 27th to the 28th. They've got another invitational later in February. If you're in college, which I mean a lot of our audience actually is here, and you're interested in something like that, they've got a lot of information over on their Twitter. You can reach out to them, and of course they've got twitch.tv/college carball. It's a pretty good place. Have you guys? I know you guys watched a lot of the other college game, but have you guys caught college carball? It's pretty hip. They got cool stuff going on.
Yeah, I mean they've been around for a long time. They were, in a lot of ways, they were the starting kind of the foundation of collegiate Rocket League. And I think some of the guys that are with that team are also working with like CRL kind of behind the scenes, which is really cool to see. And yeah, I mean, if you're a college student and your aspirations are to play in like the RLCS or CRL, this is the perfect place for you to practice and really get yourself out there, and start making a name for yourself, start connecting with other people in your school, and use this opportunity to get yourself ready for that next level.
Yeah, college carball is really cool. The guys behind it are extremely dedicated, so I think some of them getting involved on the CRL side of things is super dope.
Love them. They're all about it. So check that out there. Again, College Carball, they're over on Twitter. They've got all the details there. The cool thing, I think, that we all thought was absolutely nuts this weekend. We talked about it a couple weeks. They had to move their tournament because of DreamHack, but HyperX Cup was nuts. What just upset after upset after upset. Mm-hmm. I got to tell you, I did not expect this. So first of all, let's give some props to the production guys, because Rocket Baguettes have been around for a while. They're the French casters, and maybe they're Rocket Baguette. Maybe it's a singular, not a plural thing, but they're so good. I love the way that they compose themselves and have conversations on stream. I don't understand a word of it because I don't speak French, but I imagine that it's extremely informative just based on their tone alone.
And they're so nice. They were at the RLCS World Championship. They are dedicated.
They've had, I mean, I don't know how many people know this, but they've had a really cool run. They started out like a year or so ago. On RLC, we were casting Gfinities in English, and they wanted to do it in French. So they started doing like the French side of things. And they did that, for a better part of a year or so. And then they were also picked up when we did the RLCS foreign language streams. They were doing the French streams for a little while for that as well. And then like to transition to now get, this working with HyperX and doing this cup, it's like, man, they're just constantly stepping it up. So I agree with you. They do a fantastic job. They're really good people. I've had the pleasure of working with them a couple different times, and I'm really excited to see where they go from here.
So fun story about that. I met them for the first time at RLCS this last season, and we had worked together on Leaf League, kind of like we were essentially in tandem. They were doing the same thing they did with Gfinity, where they did the French stream while we were running the English stream. And I'm such a fan because I like fanboyed so hard, and like we met on the porch randomly. I was like, "You guys are the Rocket Baguettes. They are the sweetest dudes in the entire world. Good huggers. It's a big thing in the Rocket League scene to be a good thing. At this point, I think it's become a community. Like, how good are you at hugging actually should be something you put in your profile, so people know. They need to know what's going on, right? I don't know. They're wonderful, but the actual HyperX Cup was unbelievable. So first off, Gale Force actually ended up losing in the quarters, which was a crazy upset. But the games were all best of threes leading through that, and it was interesting to see how that played out. I think one of the biggest change-ups I'm sorry, I might have misspelled. Is it WLF? Is that the team that they ended up going all the way through to the semifinals? I had never heard of that.
Yeah, WLF.
Okay.
It was made up of, I got to go back to the Smash brackets.
No.
I forget the roster, but they made quite the run in this bracket, and I believe one of the teams they beat was Fnatic, if I'm not wrong.
They 3-0'd a big team, and I was very surprised. Or 3-1 to big team.
It was Fnatic, wasn't it? It was 3-1 Fnatic.
I think it was. I think they 3-0'd Fnatic. Gale Force lost 3-1 to, I think, Envy actually was who they lost to.
Gale Force lost to Envy, and then Turbo tweeted out after, he's like, well, I guess that's what happens when you don't scrim ever. I guess I can't get complacent.
Yeah, no, they're definitely having a little bit of the flip side syndrome where you are at the top and you think you're untouchable, or maybe you think, oh, we can take a break now. I've fulfilled my short-term or medium-term goal, and then while that happens, everyone else keeps grinding and they surpass you. So, but still, with how good those guys are, they just need to start playing for like
just
a few weeks straight, and they'll be good.
I've got confidence. WLF got a huge chat following. Like they had nothing but copy pastas about WLF the entire time.
That's what I love. That's what I love about everything you. Sorry, Cloud, go ahead.
I was gonna say, so apparently WLF is an Italian team made up of Lindo, Arju, and Money Talk. And now Money Talk, I've heard a couple times over this past week. I've been hearing his name. Apparently they've been beating people in ranked that maybe people didn't expect them to, and then obviously they showed up really well here in the HyperX Cup. So who knows? Maybe this is the next Applesauce or whoever, the team that nobody really the dudes, like this is that team that like nobody really expects. They come out of nowhere and then they're just here to stay. So good, kudos to them. I always love seeing it's tough because like you have your favorite teams. If you're a Gale Force fan, you want to see Gale Force on top all the time. But honestly, that's going to get boring after a while. And realistically, over time, teams are just going to get caught out. Look back in the day when Cosmic Aftershock won everything. Eventually, teams caught up to them. They figured out how to beat them, and then it forces them to change, which is great. We don't want to see Gale Force get bored and get, rest on their laurels and just, kind of slack off and not have to work for it. Mm-hmm. Teams like this are going to keep all those teams on their toes and keep them constantly progressing and getting better, which just makes the scene better. So
love those national teams too, like the Flying Dutchman.
Oh yeah,
Golden Hawks,
Copenhagen playing.
The
slogan is Vogan, man. I miss that so much. So good.
And I thought Cookser was like the only moderately high level Italian player. So to see a whole squad of Italians, that's gonna be pretty cool. I hope they make a deep run in the rival series qualifier.
There's a lot of teams to look out for in the qualifier for RLRS this upcoming season. Super excited for that. Team Secret actually won the HyperX Cup with a new player, iGnite. So it's iGnite, Tylacto, and Flame. And I gotta tell you, the last 2 times I've seen Team Secret play with iGnite, they look good.
They look so good. He's running under. So if you watch the VODs and go back, what is he playing under? Was it like Mira or something?
Yeah, Myron.
Was that Myron?
He's
Myron.
Myron.
Okay, so look for that. I was confused for a second until I turned on the broadcast and heard them through the French. I heard iGnite, and I was like, oh, okay, that's iGnite. And it took me a second because I was like, why would they play with some random guy in this? Because I knew they had picked him up recently. He looks amazing. And again, we talked about him through the rival series the whole time, and he belongs. I think he's found his element. I think this is going to be a good place for him.
Yeah, I think Team Secret, they got into the RLCS, and a lot of people were just like, I don't know about this team. They might have gotten lucky. Let's see how they actually do. And, they didn't have the greatest run, but they put up a fight. And if you look at their stats, Continuum, player that's been around for a long time, one of the OGs, didn't really kind of stack up stats-wise. And then on the other side of the coin, you've got X-Ray who did okay. They made it up there. But iGnite was, the driving force there.
There was one series where iGnite wasn't playing with X-Ray and they looked lost.
Tiz place. But if you look at his stats, iGnite was, across the board was, top of RLRS. So you're taking one of the worst performing statistically speaking, one of the worst performing players from the RLCS and replacing him with the best performing RLRS player. Like that's a recipe for success in my book. And we're seeing it now. So that's not meant to be like any kind of knock on Continuum. It's just like when you take a player of the caliber of iGnite, who I don't know who mentioned, I think it might have been Dazrin recently. He was actually an NA player at one time, played with Austin and Klexic like a long time ago. Really? So that guy, the run that he's been on is nuts, but it's great to see him now. I mean, he's out there streaming. He did a great job in the 6-mans, and now he's got a chance to be one of the best teams So
The first time I ever saw iIgnite was last January in a SPL EU weekly, and he was playing on a team called Bob the Builder, and he had some pretty sick shots. And then I just kept seeing him pop up over and over again, and to see him perform this well, especially with Team Secret, it's gonna be fantastic to see how they do in the DreamHack qualifiers, and not the qualifiers. I'm sorry, DreamHack groups, because they're going to DreamHack, and we've been saying it for how many weeks now. This is the most stacked tournament to date, and I just don't know what's going to happen. We had Veritas in the EU qualifier make a run in the lower bracket and almost upset the entire lower bracket to qualify. They're still going to be there. They're going to be at Leipzig. And then we had the dudes actually qualify in North America, beating a couple of really solid teams to get there. And there are still other teams that didn't even play in the DreamHack qualifiers because they're just going to Leipzig. Splice is one of those teams still trying to figure it out with Dude with the Nose, Sathu, and Karma, where I can't think of the other team I'm thinking of. But anyways, there's just a ton of teams, and I kind of want to mention this because we're going to talk about the groups. Applesauce, which is Turtle, Chicago, and Zol. They are now Team Dignitas. If you didn't know, Team Dignitas, yes, it is official now. They are signed with Team Dignitas, a huge entrance here into the Rocket League scene. And these groups are kind of nasty. I don't know if we posted them in chat. If not, I'll get them in there in a second. But
the teams?
The groups.
Here, I'll post the groups for everyone. Well, yeah, we were going to talk about them, so we were going to talk about them later, but yeah, you guys can get a peek now.
I want to get it in. I want to get it in right now.
I'm even pretty sure the dudes almost made it into the RLRS. Like, they had some really good wins.
One series away.
Yeah,
actually, I think they were one game away.
And they lost to Cypher, who ended up getting banned. Yeah. So they they were
that's
really,
we had to rip
I'm gonna need some cup noodles after that.
Well. That was good. That was good. I'm sorry. That was good. That was really good.
They've also
you can do it the right way.
They've also made a change roster wise. I mean, they've made, I guess, 2 changes now, but when in the last season when they were playing, they didn't have Jor Lelin. They brought him in now from Pity Party. That's a pretty big upgrade, I would say. I mean, he's one of those players.
Oh, Jor Lelin. Okay, yeah, you're right. It just sounded like too many L's. I wanted to make fun of you, but I can't now. Yeah. Lol.
Yeah. I mean, he's somebody that I've, I don't know how to explain it. He's just, from time to time I'll hear players' names like, oh, watch out for this guy. And he's just, he's been one of those players that I hear about quite a bit. And, now you see him with the dudes and they're, kicking butt and taking names. Like, they're doing a really good job. And it's going to be interesting to see them playing with Illusion for DreamHack. I don't know if that's going to be an upgrade for them or if it's going to be a little bit weird playing with somebody that they don't normally play with. But either way, the trajectory of that team is certainly on the up and up. And, I can't wait to see what they do, not only in DreamHack, but also for the Rival Series, potentially.
They've got arguably one of the toughest groups. Secret. Wait. Oh, no, never mind. I thought that was someone else. So Team Secret, and then I thought the team was somebody else. I thought it said Team Envy for some reason. It did not. It's Team Esport and Team Expert. So maybe not as tough as a group.
Yeah, so I could a little bit about the DreamHack stuff. I worked with Deep Hands and the rest of the team that were seeding. Yeah, so I think there were 9 of us that were seeding. So it's you guys like Thor, myself, Stranger, Shy, Esports Corey, Deep Hands. It's a lot of people that you would expect to be a part of this thing. And we went through and we seeded all the qualifiers as well as the teams that are going to be at DreamHack. There were certain requirements because if a team was invited, so like Gale Force, PSG, those teams, they were guaranteed to be top 4 for seeds. So regardless of where we actually thought they should have ended up, they had to be 4. And then the teams that won from the upper bracket in the qualifiers, so that was NRG and Flipside, they were guaranteed 5 or 6. And then the teams that came in from the bottom side or the lower bracket, they were 7 and 8. So that was the dudes and Veritas, I believe. Or no, guess. Yeah, was it who was on the bottom side? It was guess who? Yeah. So those teams were guaranteed 7 and 8. But outside of that, we were pretty much given free reign of seeding, and it was tough. I mean, I used to do seeding all the time for power rankings and for the RLCS, and we would have data to go off of, and it made it really easy. For this, we really didn't have much. I mean, since the RLCS, we've had E-League. A couple of the teams were there. Some of them played each other, some of them didn't. We had the Hyper Cup. We had Ting Open. We had a couple Beyond Astro tournaments, the DreamHack qualifiers. That's pretty much it. Nobody else has played in anything. We haven't seen like the new Ghost roster. We haven't seen them at all. So it's like, where do you put them? How do you figure out where to stick them? So what I started out doing was just putting teams that were kind of in the same sort of group. So like Fnatic and Secret were constantly like trading games. Like, Fnatic will win this one, then Secret will win that one. So like, okay, wherever they're at, they're going to be close together. And so I start creating groups based off of that. And then, I kind of just stick teams wherever. To some degree, it was a bit of a dartboard, like knowing where Go should go. I really didn't know. So we take all of our seeds and create an average between the 9 of us. That is, what was used for DreamHack. And then from there, Dpants and CJ, who were like running things for DreamHack, they put them into groups. And I think the groups, so normally it's, like 1, 15, 16, 32, but then you would have rematches in the second day, and they didn't want to have that. So I think they did something where it's a little bit more balanced. So it's like 1, 15, 18, 32. So basically the difference is that you're going to have a slightly more balanced group as opposed to giving favor towards the 1 seed, which means that your first group may be technically a little bit tougher than you would expect it to be, but then your second day group will be a little bit easier, which makes more sense because those are going to be the more competitive matches.
Interesting.
So, and there wasn't 32 teams either. So there are some groups that only have 3 teams. There are some groups that only have 4 teams. But all in all, if the teams that, like, based on the seeds, if the teams make it that are supposed to, you're going to see a bloodbath on day 2. There are some really good teams that are going to be in groups, with 2 or 3 other really good teams, and only 2 of them are going to make it out. You could see potentially a G2 getting knocked out at like 15, and that's respectable. Like, that's how good. I mean, like you said it before, this is the most stacked online or like offline, regardless of online or offline. This is the most stacked tournament I've seen since the early days of Rocket League. And the only reason we had that back then is because we weren't really playing for that much money. Like, anybody would just show up. So to have this in a live setting over 3 days with God knows how many games, I think they're playing like 60 something games across the 3 days. This is going to be amazing. I can't wait for it to get started.
Who's your toughest group in your eyes right now? Because there's a few on here I think that are tough. I think there's a couple that are probably up there as the toughest right now.
Are we talking day 1 groups or day 2 groups? Because day 1 groups are pretty easy. It's basically you just want to be top 2, and as long as you're in the as long as you're like a top 16 team, you should have a pretty easy time. It's the teams that are like 17 to 20 that'll be kind of in trouble. So like any and I have to pull it back up because I don't remember exactly what the groups were, but any group that has like teams that are right there on the edge. So like Rogue, I think, is one of those teams that's people are not really sure where they're going to go. I think they might have a tough time. Yeah, I mean, you're going to lose a couple teams that are pretty good from day 1.
Kind of looks like it could be a tough group.
That's what I was.
A humdinger.
That's what I was looking at.
Yeah.
Group F, Group E could even.
Group E,
even
Group
be.
F. Yeah. G maybe. G's got some competition in there, and Group H is looking big. But yeah, I saw E and F, and I immediately thought those are going to be tough groups for everybody.
Yeah. The crazy part though is going into day 2, because if anybody gets upset on day 1, it completely changes what their seed is going into the next day. So like if you're a 1 seed and you lose like a 15 seed, the way groups work is it now treats you as if you're the 15 seed. So you're not getting any favors. In fact, you have a really hard road to go down, and there's going to be a lot of upsets because of that, I think.
I'm
excited.
Who do you guys think is gonna win? Give me a winner right now. Nothing else. Who's gonna win the whole dang thing?
Throw it out there. Just throw out the whole dang thing.
Who's winning it, James?
Dudes!
The whole thing?
The whole thing. The whole shebangle.
The
The whole 9 pitches.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that Fnatic's gonna win it all.
I like
that.
it.
I like that.
it. Cloud.
I could see Fnatic. Yeah, I could see Fnatic doing it. You know what? Let me take a look here real quick. I want to do it based off of where the groups are. So I think so. Energy and Envious being the same group. God, that's gonna be a tough one. Flip side, I worry about them with Jesse. Nothing against Jesse, but I don't think they've had enough time playing with him. Equinox will be good. Fnatic. Guess who?
Gonna get a G2 E-League repeat.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think
Two
G2 makes it
majors
out of their
in
group.
a row. Could you imagine?
I think G2 makes it out of their group. Nothing against Dignitas or Rogue, but I think G2 can make it
don't
out.
two people out of the groups make it to day 2?
Well, I'm talking about through to the final bracket because they're gonna move. They're gonna like merge with another bracket.
Right,
So
right.
Method, we haven't seen much from them, and what we have seen hasn't been great. Ghost, like if Matt comes in and just kills it like he usually does, Ghost could be a big time upsetter. Coming in as like a 15 seed.
I think Matt makes that team like way stronger on paper.
I think my short list are Energy with Torment. Envious have been playing lights out lately. They've been doing a really good job. Guess who? I mean, it's hard to pull against them. Fnatic. Secret has been playing really well. Yeah, I think it's probably one of those teams, and I guess
You gotta
of
pick
those
one, Cloud.
teams, oh my god,
You gotta pick one.
Ugh.
That's some Tonka tough
You
stuff.
can't go wrong with any one of the picks because they're all.
They're all hot stuff, man. They're all hot stuff.
It's the
You
beauty
know,
of DreamHack. Anything can happen.
I think I give it to Secret, man. They've been grinding really hard lately. They've been close with Fnatic, who I think is up there.
They're coming off hot too.
They're coming up real hot, and a lot of these teams have been taking breaks. You know, just kind of taking it easy, and maybe Secret does it.
Unthink?
You guys, fan of the show or friend of the show? I'm gonna give it to Dignitas. I love it. I love the first. Dignitas is owned by the 76ers, so I gotta give it to the Philly owned squad.
Yeah.
Regardless, I gotta give it to them. Come on, our boys. They got big things going on. They changed the roster. It's gonna be a big upset here. No one's gonna see it coming. No one can prepare for it. No one's got the tape, Jorby. I got Dignitas.
All right. Well, here's
That's
the
a tough group, though. That's a really tough group to break out of. So I'll probably eat my words here.
Team Secret's super good and everything. And before the HyperX Cup, my pick was going to be Gale Force. However, a new team from the shadows has arisen. And I'm going to say, all right, no one's going to see them coming because they're not even playing with the roster they qualified with. All right? They got a new guy in there. He's got RLCS experience. They're going to run through. They're going to make it to that final bracket. They're going to get out of their group. They're going to shock the world. And I'm talking about none other than Joro and the dudes, baby. They're taking it. They're going to take the whole thing. DreamHack Leipzig. America's going to take Germany back to the States. The dudes are going to win.
What does that even
I don't know what that means.
It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything.
Taking Germany back to the States. I don't care what that means. I love it. I'm all about that. Oh,
I need the
man.
dudes. I need the dudes with like, you know, the American flag draped over. You know, the whole rogue.
They need a slogan. They need send dudes, and that's what we gotta go back.
Hashtag send dudes.
I love that.
Oh man.
Oh gosh.
Send it. Just send
I'd
it.
love to see it.
Yeah.
I mean, the last DreamHack was Atlanta Muffin Men unsigned team. Why not the dudes?
Why not the dudes indeed? Hey guys, DreamHack Leipzig literally starts tomorrow. If you're not doing anything and you don't have jobs, then tune in at I believe 12:30.
If you're if you're on the West Coast, it starts at 4:30 a.m. If you're on the East Coast,
So 12.
good job.
So
You picked
12:30.
the right coast. It's
12:30 local
7:30
time.
So basically,
It's 12:30 local time.
wake up early, drink your
12:30
coffee,
their
eat your
time,
waffles,
right?
and watch some DreamHack Leipzig.
It's gonna be
at work.
at work. Well, I can't do it at work.
At work.
That stuff is
Your
on a
boss is
lot
like,
now.
"Are you filling out those TPS reports?" Sure am, guy. Is that DreamHack? Yes.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
100%.
It is. I need this. We'll see how that goes. I love it. I'm super excited about this event. This is the big thing that I've been thinking about all day. But you know what I've been thinking about this week, Jorby?
What's that? What have you been thinking about?
You've
been thinking about the
season
rules, right?
5.
The rules.
They made rule changes.
Yeah.
I wanted Cloud to talk about this a little bit. Were there significant changes to these rules here today? Because I know that a couple days ago, you posted this. Was this something that was life-changing?
No, not really. The biggest changes came in the prize pool and things of that nature.
$500,000.
It's a lot of money.
Almost $500,000, by the way.
Almost.
I've heard that. Again, cast the math in here. Check it out.
Well, you have to account the taxes that are coming out of it, okay?
Sometimes quick math.
All right, you're right. You're right. I'm sorry, I forgot about that.
You don't want to bring the Germany back for the taxes. I hear that.
And they split up so much of it that it's just more taxes. That's not how that works, right? I don't know. I don't do math. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, they made a few changes. The roster continuity rule, they're now requiring anybody that the teams are bringing back. So previously, you had to keep 2/3 of your roster in order to keep your spot. That rule stays in place. But now the 2/3 that stay have to also play the majority of the games of the next season. So it's a slight change from the way that it was before, to where teams could essentially keep 2/3, pick up 2 brand new players, move one of the players that they kept to sub, and start the other 2 players. Like, that would have been fine. With this new rule, you can't do that. Disconnects, they've got a bit more clarity as to how that works. So it seems like, there's a lot more control for the tournament organizers. So if they want to reset the match, they can. They've always had the ability to do that, but this just makes it a little bit more clear. So it seems like if in the early game it's still 0-0 and there's a disconnect, they may make the option to go ahead and just restart it. And then they clarified a little bit on the prize pool. So the players are going to get 10,500 in the RLCS just for playing, which is fantastic. That's when I saw there was more money coming in, my hope was that it was going to all the players and not like, oh, let's give it all to the RLCS winner and that's it. So it's really good to see that that's, they're still continuing with that trend. 10,500. I mean, that's almost a salary essentially at this point. Like, the salary right now for most players is between 2K to 4K per month. So 10,500 over 3 to 4 months, considering how many games you play, it's pretty good. They made a few changes. Yeah, they made a few changes to the player accolades. So it looks like they no longer have the DFH Community Award. It looks like they've done away with that. They've also done away with something else. It was 9,000 before, and now it's 7,000. So I don't know. They changed something else, and I'm not sure what exactly it is.
The amount
they changed the amount for MVP. The league play MVP is now 500 per region instead of 1,000. And then you still have the world champion MVP. So just a couple minor changes. And I mean, they said this in their announcement. Like, they're not really trying to make big changes this season. I think, kind of like James said earlier on, I think this is the season where it's like, we've gotten it to a good spot. Let's just kind of roll this out and do what we've done going into next season. And then we can take the time to really sit back, look at how this goes, get some feedback, and figure out where we want to move forward from here.
Big news.
I can't wait for RLCS as every season goes, and RLRS qualifiers are going to be dope because there's a lot of teams that aren't even in that are going to be, everyone's going to be wanting to look out for.
And if I'm not casting, I am definitely signing up to play. I swear.
There you go. That's what they
you
need.
got to
More,
be
more pigeons.
So James,
Sign-ups are open.
You have two stipulations for you signing up for the RLRS. One, you got to have Pigeon in your team name. Two, you have to outdo Doomsy's team name. Because Doomsy's team names are the good ones.
Even if I just had to outdo his team, I could do that too. Outdoing Doomsy.
Ooh. The shade of Doomsy, I love it.
I'm just kidding.
I love feelings, but sign-ups is still open.
Because I know he has a sense of humor.
And he feels it. He loves it. His team's ready to go, though. So you got to get your team up. RLCS, the rosters lock on February 9th.
And he's playing really well.
14th.
The RLRS locks on the 14th. So I guess that they're waiting to see how that kind of drops. So official signups end on the 14th. But if you're already in RLCS, that roster has to lock by the 9th. That makes sense if you're doing trades and roster changes.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. So.
Or if there's spots opening up, because there are some rumors about that. So.
Ooh, yeah. There's a lot of good stuff going on in that world.
It'll be
Yeah, it
definitely interesting. But hey, guys, that's it for our tournaments. And like I said, DreamHack Leipzig tomorrow. If you can't watch tomorrow, it's group stage, and the big meet, the best matches that you're going to see are gonna be on late Saturday and on Sunday when you get to the final bracket. It's going to be great. Go watch for our boy Achieves because he's going to be absolutely sexy on the desk, and I love that man. But hey, game
Tips Gunners.
community updates.
Community update.
On Talkback Rocket League.
It's the place where you get updated about the community.
Welcome
We'll
to.
work on that song. I think it's pretty good.
We're getting it down. We're getting consistency. That's the important part. Is that the more
Yep.
we do it, the worse it gets. I love it.
More jazz hands equals better viewership.
If you're a masochist and you play Rocket League Ranked, congratulations. Season 7 is going to be coming very soon, and the Season 6 awards have been announced. I think I play more scrims than I do actual ranked now. But can I say that the wheels for Season 6 look freaking dope? Like, guys, they look so good. Can we talk about? It's like they're like gears, and the champ wheels look amazing. I can't get over it.
Personally, can't wait for my silver ones to come through. Very excited about my silver ones. They're looking real hot.
And everyone's gonna be wanting to tout in that Season 6 Grand Champ. So make sure you grind and get there if you're even close to that. Because you guys are the only ones worthy of that title.
Soft reset. Soft reset this season.
Pretty sure
Looking
they
good.
did not. Yeah, that's right. They didn't do a soft reset between Season 5 and Season 6. So we'll be getting a soft reset. I believe it just resets you to the beginning of the tier that you're in.
Yeah, 10
Is that how it
placement
works?
matches still.
Yeah,
10
basically, if
placement
you
matches
win
per
half, if you win half of your matches, then you're guaranteed to be back where you were before. So there's a chance to drop down. There's a chance to move up. Soft.
Very
Does
soft.
Jamesbot have a kazoo on his desk at all times? I'm pretty sure that he does.
That's a great question. A lot of good questions being asked.
Yeah,
That's the important stuff here.
It is. But hey, yeah, the rewards are pretty cool. I was curious to see what they would be. We got sick dragons for Season 5, and we get more wheels, and they look super cool. It really doesn't matter like what wheel you get. Like even the bronze wheels look sick.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it was. I mean, this is the second time that they've had wheels be their reward.
yeah,
I was
People were
playing-
complaining about that, by the way.
Yeah, and I think it's valid complaints. I think the items though are definitely awesome. Like, it definitely seems like I can see why they went with wheels again, but I can also see the argument against it. But wheels is like the thing that most people are most passionate about. So why not have another set of wheels? I think it would have been cool though to also have like a goal explosion or something, something new. But still, these items, they really knocked it out of the park with the items design. And like even last time, like Overzero, he uses the diamond wheels from the first time
they look
or the
sick.
first go around. So because the blue ones look awesome, I used that too when I was rocking my Merc. I would use the blue wheels because I like them more than the purple champ ones. So this is definitely some of the most intricate artwork that I've seen for add-ons or for anything that you can put on your car. So it's definitely awesome. And I'm looking forward to rocking all of the wheels.
Oh yeah. They look good. I'm excited about wheels. I like wheels. I don't think that we get to complain. I don't know if I'm cool with complaining about rewards at the end of the season. I'm happy that we just get something. I'm happy that Rocket League has continued producing, and we're up to 7 seasons at this point. So I don't know. Maybe I'm a little bit, but I'm also not super into the cosmetics as much. So maybe
Neither am I.
Oh,
I
Dog and
think
Night Race.
I'm still using the Pigeon Topper, White Portal Gel Boost, Wings decal, and the only thing that I'll change is my wheels. So I will actually be using these new wheels. Maybe. I have the LAN wheels that I'm using right now.
What's your goal explosion?
I have
the Reaper.
my favorite thing is the popcorn because it looks like birdseed. I was borrowing Astros, and I had to give it back. So that's the one I want. But what I'm using, I think, is the Dabbing Reaper, and
yes.
or the
I hate
purple
it.
one.
I hate it. I hate it so much.
Super good.
It's a interesting world we live in here, but the good news is that we heard some rumors over on Twitter that 2018 cross-platform dreams may come true. This is a screenshot we got from RL Support that I'll post on there, and someone asked, "Are you currently working on cross-platform party systems? And if so, give us a hint." They said, "Hey there, we're working on it. It's coming for 2018." That's pretty much the news.
This is interesting too, because this, and I think will this impact RLCS rules? Because eventually, would they switch over to the supported consoles are Xbox and Switch if there's a higher population? Even though PS4 probably has a higher percentage or a higher amount of skilled players, there's probably going to be more Switch and Xbox players. And if these cross-platform lobbies take place and PS4 isn't a part of it, will we see that rule change too? But regardless, cross-platform parties by itself is going to be awesome, because I can then carry all of my friends who are on Switch or Xbox to high ranks.
Look at it. I'm touching the goal right here on the screen, and it's not going in. What's happening?
I'm trying to drag the ball into the net.
This needs a stylus.
Oh man, yeah. That is an interesting point, because I think combined you might have more players on both of those platforms, and since those two can play with each other, right? Xbox and Switch players can. So
yeah, you actually authenticate with Xbox Live, right? For the Switch, that's still how they're trying to do that. I don't have the Switch version.
Technically how it works, but this is going to be massive. I mean, if you can play, if it doesn't matter if you're playing with Switch, Xbox, or PC, just talking about matchmaking queue times, like it's going to reduce. Like the more amount of people that are playing, the lower the queue times are. The bigger the competition at all times of day and night. So that'll be huge, especially if they start having the in-game tournaments and you can compete in these tournaments the same one, whether you're on Switch, Xbox, or PC. That's going to be absolutely massive, because before, we can play against Switch and Xbox people now, but we can't party with them. But now if we can party with them and even sign up for tournaments, and it doesn't matter what platform you're on, that's going to just further spur competition in the game and just play all around. So this is a big thing for Rocket League.
Good quality of life stuff. I agree.
And hey, that's a pretty short segment we have. Not really much else in terms of gaming community updates. So we get to we got a couple things. This is what happens when we have tournament updates first, is that we end up talking about all the teams that have roster changes and team announcements. So it's really a lot of rehashing what we said. So we'll probably kind of run through these pretty quickly, but just talking about the teams themselves a little bit more, rather than kind of being like, they're Dignitas now, or Ares Esports. But actually, speaking of Ares Esports, they do replace Endpoint's spot in Gfinity Elite. Endpoint dropping away from the Gfinity Elite, so should be interesting for Ares Esports. I believe aren't they kind of big in some region, like not EU, but like a certain country.
They're in Europe, but they're a French organization. So they're a French organization. They're officially joining the Elite Series, which is pretty cool, because we had questions about what was going to happen when Endpoint. They announced that Endpoint was going to be leaving that, and it's for people who don't know, they recruit folks out of the Gfinity Challenger series, and they pick up players and teams that way. So it's not an official roster, but if they like what they've got on the board and they have the option, they might pick up a team. So there's a good chance you can draft teams from this, and it's again another cool thing that's happening in Europe that I just dream of happening in North America. So I like it. I'm excited. I don't know a whole lot about that other than that they're French, though.
All right. Hey, we kind of talked about this last week, but it wasn't official until really the next go around after the show. Classics leaving Ghost was official after Lethemir had kind of confirmed it on stream last week. But Matt joining Ghost, we know that he was on the roster for DreamHack, but they never made an official announcement. And now it is official. Matt is officially joining Ghost. So it will be Zane Jackie, Lethemir, and Matt. And Cloud, James, I don't know what you guys think about this roster, but to me, this is one of the, obviously they're a question mark, right? But to me, on paper, this is a team that could just come out and stomp some teams with Matt coming in, because they become much less of a wild card to me, because Classics is such a wild card player. The way he plays is either really good or it completely screws his team over. So with Matt, you have a much more level-headed style of play. And I think it's really going to take Ghost to that level that they're looking for, that next step that they've been trying to get to. Like they've tasted it. They've been trying to get there. This might be what does it.
Yeah, I think this is one of those moves I'm going to have to wait and see. I think Matt is a phenomenal player. I think if he can remain dedicated to the game and put in the practice, he is very, very skilled. We saw it in day one of the World Championship for Season 3. He was the player of the day. I think he scored like 10 goals, something ridiculous. He has that ability, but I haven't been paying too close attention on how many hours he's been putting into the game. I remember there was a stint where he wasn't playing very much. So this move, I think, I'm just going to wait and see. But Matt definitely has proven that he is a very talented player, and it could very well work out for this Ghost Squad.
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to have to wait and see to a degree, but I think on paper, this move makes a lot of sense. Classics, kind of like you said, Jorby's very aggressive kind of player, ball chaser, but it's not traditional sense of the ball chasing term. It's not necessarily a negative thing. It's just he keeps a lot of contact and a lot of possession with the ball, which works and sometimes be a detriment when double commits happen, or just different times within the season. This past season, he had instances where it seemed like they weren't on the same page for whatever reason. Maybe it was a coaching thing. Maybe it was just communication. Who knows? But it just seemed like they weren't always on the same page. When it clicked though. I mean, as we saw, Ghost was one of the surprising teams that just kind of came out of nowhere. A lot of people, I think, didn't really expect them to move past like the 5-6 range. So for them to make the World Championship and make a legitimate run at it, I think surprised a lot of people. Now, with that being said, Matt is one of those players that in the past, at least, we'll see where he's at this season. But in the past, he's a very dominant type of player, just all around, a lot of skill. He's been around for a very long time, played with Sizz the majority of that time. So it'll be interesting to see him away from Sizz. It's been a while since they've been apart. It'll also be interesting seeing him with Zane Jackie. I know him and Zane Jackie are good friends. So maybe that connection will help them to be a really solid roster. I know Lethemir is considered by a lot of people to be pushing into like the top 10 of NA, just players in general, which is the skill that he demonstrates. And he's kind of one of those like sort of like no BS type of player. Like, people either love him or hate him because he says it like he sees it. He doesn't sugarcoat it. It is what it is. And so, if they can all get along and they can all be on the same page, on paper with the things they've been able to accomplish in the past, that's a pretty scary roster.
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know. I'm a little sad that the dynasty of the Sizz Matt dynasty has ended. I think that's it's like bittersweet because I think that it's right for them to move on to bigger, better things for both of them. I think this is going to be a good thing. Because sometimes you just have to break it up. But man, they're a long-standing duo. That's kind of sad to see. I remember the gif from Lan Diego where they're playing, and then Sizz jumps over and grabs Matt's mouse and messes with it while he's in the middle of the game, and he slaps his hand away. I don't know. That chemistry, that's the stuff that I joined this game for. This is the stuff that makes me passionate about this. But at the same time,
Markey and Cooks is also over too.
I know. We talked about it a couple weeks ago. We're running out of them. I guess Ignite and Musno were around for a while together too. There's a lot of sadness out there. All the duos and everything.
Yeah. Dapper, the Selfless Squad, the old Selfless Squad is the last remaining long one. However, who knows what's going to happen with them? We haven't heard anything about them in a while, and I've heard a lot of rumors.
Well, they just left Renegades. That was the big thing that happened last week.
If the rumors that are out there to be believed, I've heard all of those players being shipped all over the place. So there's no telling what's going on with those guys. It definitely sucks to see some of these long-standing duos go away, but it also opens up the door for some new ones to start. And I think we're getting to a point where Prime Thunder and Wonder might be like the next longest-standing duo. That's how many.
Tinny and Cheerio are still rolling, dude.
Yeah.
Okay, Tinny and Cheerio as well. Okay.
Since
I'm just saying.
I don't know. Matt's in Magnus, man. Mets and Magnus. Can't forget about those guys.
Yeah.
Well, that's
They are
that's the
smooth.
thing though, that they've only been together for a year. There was a point to where those guys weren't even in like the top 10 for how long some of these duos have been together. We've lost so many like just iconic duos in the past year. Like they're all gone. So now it's I mean, like you said, Mets and Magnus, like they're up there. They're probably like in the top 3.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy how much has
Anyway,
changed.
it makes me sad. But at the same time, I think Matt, exactly as you guys say, he fills the role. I wonder where that puts Classics kind of in a way. He's an ultra aggressive player. Does he have a good spot for himself? But I like Matt being there. I think it's a balance. It gives Lethamyr a little bit more room to do what he wants to do in an aggressive way. I like it. I'm okay with Ghost. Will they be a dominant team out of the gate? I don't know. There's a honeymoon period for teams like this. I can see that being potential, but I don't think we have enough info to do other than to hope, because it would be great to see another powerhouse show up and rock the world. So I have hope, but I don't know if DreamHack is going to be the game changer we're looking for yet.
Yeah, it's gonna be a tough road for him.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's a rock and roller coaster. We talked about DreamHack. Mystic is sick also. So Jesse's going to sub in for him. Jesse of the Dutchman is going to be rocking it in. I haven't seen him do something big in a while. I'm really excited. So Jesse is a player I used to watch 1s and 2s a lot. And he played, of course he had the Dutchman, but he's a nice guy. He's great to have around the scene. He's a cool player in general, but I don't know what it means for F3. I genuinely don't know where he stands on this. So
Yeah,
that's
just we'll see where they end up in groups.
That's
where I'm
we'll
at
see
with
where they end
Flipside
up.
and Jesse. So,
I mean, Jesse's still a very, very highly
For sure.
ranked player.
It's just
if you look on the leaderboards, he's like in the top 10.
That only means so much. Actually, it
exactly,
means actually close to nothing, honestly. If we're being honest when it comes to pro play.
Was he not a top 1s player for a long time though?
He
Wasn't
was.
he like a top 10 1s player for like the longest time? I remember him being absolutely dominant. So I would love to see where he ended up going. But so these are weird moves, and I don't know what this means. So Veritas is sponsoring a second team for DreamHack. The Rocketeers, they announced, so ELMP's squad, which I don't really know a lot about Imagine and Mask, but ELMP is a player we're very familiar with. So they've got the Rocketeers are in there. We've seen them in the group stages. Imagine that. But we talked last week where they had picked up Tigre, Alex, and Repex for this event. So I don't know what that means to have 2 teams in this. I mean, I get having 2 horses in the race, but man, that's what are your guys' thoughts on that? Just having 2 teams coming into this matchup or to this big tournament.
I mean, we haven't really seen that. It's been a while. Back in the early days of Rocket League, that was pretty
Crown
normal.
and Jewels, right? Crown and Jewels.
Crown and
and
Jewels
and
did
Pocket
that.
Aces.
Maka did it, and even before then, we had some groups in the community that I'm not sure what kind of level of esports organization they were, but they would have like 3 or 4 different teams. But then once the RLCS started, that all kind of stopped. So yeah, it's kind of strange. I mean, I guess it makes sense because they are Veritas. For those that don't know, there's a new website out there, Rocketeers.gg. Veritas runs that website. They are like the brainchild behind that. And so the team that ELMP is playing for is called Rocketeers, and there's also Veritas. So to me, it's like this organization, this group of people are making a huge push into Rocket League. They've got a new website. They've got guys like Andrew Hayward involved in that. And then on top of that, they're sponsoring 2 teams in the biggest event starting off the new year. It's like you couldn't go more all in than these guys are going.
What an investment. That's insane.
Yeah. Hey, it's a good game to get invested in.
Welcome, Veritas.
I got nothing to add to this. Yeah, Veritas, welcome.
Welcome, neat stuff. I'm cool. I've seen them. I've seen the name around. I haven't followed them enough, so I'm hoping big things. Dignitas to Applesauce signed. Confirmed. We talked about that. The last one, which is weird, and I don't know. Do you want to talk about this, Joby? I mean, we should mention it.
So
out of styles in flux, I think is the word we're looking.
Let's get the Reddit thread in here so people have context as to what we're talking about.
Yeah,
Epic Johnny is very active on the Rocket League esports subreddit, which, by the way, I will shill this subreddit to death every week on this show.
It's so
Just
good.
go subscribe to that thing. It's amazing. It really is. It is growing by like weekly by like 1,000. It's pretty great.
We're almost at 3,000. It's crazy.
Yeah,
I'll give some background here though. Epic Johnny, we've had questions for him for a while. We actually talked about it last week as well. Johnny, we don't know where he's at because after Justin left the Out of Style squad, it's him and Lichinio. And then someone actually posted the day after the show we had last week about Out of Style and said, about a month ago, Johnny tweeted about hinting at an org announcement, and they might be close to disbanding. He's looking for team. We don't know where he's at. Johnny responded in the comments, and this wasn't really well reported. I haven't heard it anywhere else. But he just basically said, wasn't just 1 month. We lost 4 large organizations since they got promoted.
4.
3 of the 4 will be in the scene by next season. So it's going to be pretty crazy to hear that. And I don't know what that means. What an amazing thought. 3 of 4 major organizations will be joining. The speculations are on point right now. He said 3 players are getting kicked out of RLCS because of this, and he believes that he's definitely one of them. But Lichinio seems to be running. He says Lichinio seems to be running out of options, and I might see him coming back to Out of Style, but it seems unlikely. And so really the Out of Style balance in the force depends completely on Lichinio's status in this season, and we haven't heard anything about what he's got going.
Major organizations
said no. There's a negotiation tactic gone awry because that team has so much potential and so much growth opportunity. Even without Justin, those are some top talent players. To be back in
that only happens if you're asking for way too much, in my opinion. In my experience, that's the only way that happens. So the market right now is, at that time, it was between 1K to 3K per player per month. Now it's like 2K to 4K per month. Some are making more, some are making less. The average is what the average is. You can't go in expecting way more than that. Like, if that's the case, then no surprise that these orgs left, because they're only going to pay. I mean, these are businesses, right? They're not going to go just throwing away money, right? They're trying to get an investment out of this thing. So that'd be my guess, is they probably were just asking for way too much.
And it really kind of, like, the way Epic Johnny frames this is that it's saying that Lichinio will come crawling back, which kind of means that Lichinio's the one kind of looking for other options in Epic Johnny. Because last week Epic Johnny posted something that he was LFT, and a lot of people were thinking that he was the one that wanted to leave, but now he's turning around and saying that Lichinio, it seems to be. So there's just Out of Style is all out of whack right now, and I gotta tell you, I mean, their star player's already on another team, and I think Epic Johnny.
Well, maybe I was gonna say maybe that's a big part of it. Maybe they were talking to some of these organizations, and Justin being kind of the linchpin of, like, okay, we want Justin, we'll take the other 2, but we really want Justin. He's the star here, and we're willing to pay you X amount. And then all of a sudden Justin's gone, and maybe Lichinio is expecting to still get that same amount. And it's like, whoa, you don't have your star player anymore. We're not going to give you this much. We're going to counter offer and give you maybe like half of that. So maybe Justin leaving has caused some of this ripple effect to happen. Who knows?
Who's to say? But yeah, keep following that. Seriously, go on the Rocket League Esports subreddit. Those Epic Johnny Out of Style threads get voted to the top every time they come up, and so you will not miss them that way. That's it for roster and team announcements. As DreamHack is tomorrow, and RLCS signups are here. People are getting their teams together, and we've really had the last 3 weeks have been really insane for roster announcements. But that's all we have for that. And our last segment of the day is I know it's Unthink's favorite segment of the day. I love this segment.
This is what I live for. This is
what you live
the
for.
show.
I know.
Community spotlight, baby. Bring us the good stuff.
I don't know if this is the show, but this is yours. No. There's
a lot. If we spend an hour and a half on tournament updates, it's probably not the show. You're probably.
There's a reason it's called Spotlight, because it's not like, otherwise you'd be talking about like a floodlight if you want like the entire scope of the show. You know what I mean?
No, I like that. We should change it.
Cloud mentioned it earlier. Rocketeers GG went live. It's a new Rocket League online magazine. Super dope. They did a Lethemir interview. Unthink, I'm sure, has already given it to you in chat. Andrew Hayward, if you're not familiar with the name, he's the best writer in Rocket League right now. He's the best guy putting out articles on Rocket League, in my personal opinion. And he's contributing to this magazine. And that's huge, in my opinion, for this squad. I believe he actually already did. I don't know if he did it for Rocketeers, but Andrew Hayward just came out why Fnatic took a chance on the leftovers. I don't know if that was part of Rocketeers GG, but hey, Andrew Hayward wrote a really good article about why Fnatic took a chance on the leftovers. It's really good. Go read it. I read it right before the show. But this is super cool. We're seeing more meaningful content, more Rocket League. We're esports now. I'm gonna say it every
We're
time
esports,
something like this
baby.
happens.
This article is good because it talks about something we were talking about earlier, and it gives the perspective of how the squad feels about Matt coming in. So Lethamir gave a little bit of background on the decision around that and how him and Zane Jackie feel right now. You'll be playing with Matt at DreamHack. They ask about that. What are the biggest changes in life? It's a great. Don't miss this. This is the stuff that you'll want to see, and it provides that storyline that you're going to have coming into tomorrow. And if you're already in Europe, technically later today. So, right? That's how that works. Yeah, later today. But they're asleep.
You are correct.
So they won't. Yeah, it's cool. I love the site too. The site's got a great design. It was so at first I didn't know what it was. I just saw it posted. I think Cloud actually I saw you post it, and when I went into this, I was like, "What is this madness?" It's an interesting. It goes with like the more Metro design, and it's got a lot of really cool elements to it. And also, if you scroll on the right side, Cloudfuel's tweet is first on there on the right, and it says, "Come watch me and Jamesbot on the talkback." So already, I'm going to give this a great setup here. The Twitter list by Rocketeers RL. They talk about we're on there 2-3 times, Jorby.
Wait, what?
We're on there already.
I think.
Yeah, we're on there twice. On the
hello?
Right. Is it curated for me? Hello?
Wait
If you
a
look on,
minute.
if you go to the homepage,
This is
Rocketeers
targeted
on the
advertising
Rocketeer
right
radar.
now.
Cloudfuel and Jorby, please, and then Octane. So
just all,
and then
all
you're
this
there again.
publicity. It's
look
beautiful.
at it. This is why we promote the site. This is the good stuff. It's a cool site. It's great. Check it out for all your news, and definitely add that to your feeds if you have those. So I don't know. Any thoughts on those guys? This is a pretty cool. Have you guys already read through any of this?
Yeah, I found it the other day. That's why I tweeted out. I was just like, new site. This is awesome. And then I saw that Andrew Hayward is part of it, and I was like, okay, you've got my vote of confidence right off the bat. I really like the Rocketeers radar. That's they've taken a Twitter list, and it's like whoever they feel is like the most important to like the scene that people would want to follow, and then they just put it right there. Yeah, it's really cool. Really good content. I'm not sure what all their plans are. They've got some things at the top like Spotlight and training and events and things like that. But if it's just a place for really good articles and really meaningful content, like hell yeah, bring it on. I mean, we've got Octane.gg. That's a great site. We've got obviously like the main Rocket League website, but outside of that, we really haven't seen too many sites that
cool.
bring forth this sort of content. We need this content, and we want to see more of it. So kudos to them. For sure.
Absolutely, yeah. and they don't just do esports content. They also do kind of like you see, watch this crazy bicycle flip that leads to an amazing goal. So like, there's a good mixed bag there. It feels like they want to really put something in there for everybody, give you a reason, like make it feel like a real online magazine almost that you go to. So really, really cool stuff.
Owned by Veritas. I think we said it earlier, but we should
Yes.
probably. So if you're looking at it and that's their lens, this is their creation, we'll see what that actually means. But I'm a fan of anyone who's making big
Oh.
investments again, and they're doing a great job. So pump it up, pump it up.
Pump it up.
Pump it up. So there were a couple other cool things in the community. I know we're gonna roll through these a little bit here, but making the best team out of free agents was a cool thing I saw on Reddit. I think that this had a lot of really interesting stuff in there. Check it out. Throw your own in there. It popped up, I think earlier today actually. But people are walking through who are the free agents, who's left, what would you love to see thrown together here. I think the top voted one is Lachinio, Overzero, Gambit.
Which doesn't make sense because Gambit's on Myth.
Yeah, I know that was weird, but I thought it was cool. They named it You Gotta, so I thought that was pretty neat. Jesse, and Jesse. Boy, that's a good team. And I don't know, people should be adding more to this, but there's a whole list out there that was posted in there, so you can go make your own if you have predictions or something. Throw it up on Twitter.
It's Jacob Classics Lachinio.
Ooh.
Jacob Classics Lachinio. Interesting.
I would take those guys. I think, I would do that.
It doesn't work in my
Interesting.
eyes, but I love the idea.
No,
I like the
that's
idea
exactly
that
what you do.
Raw talent, from the raw talent standpoint,
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that team could be the best out of all the free agents. Like if you had all the free agents teams play each other.
I really want to see where Overzero lands because I know he's looking.
I gotta see Overzero play in something to really get a gauge on how the guy still plays at a high level. Like, can he? It's been since, like, when I could do the things.
When you did them?
No, what I can do now is the last time we saw him in competitive play. So it'll be, I don't know. I have to. You got to show me. Overzero, obviously, there's a lot of name there, and I want to see him. I want to see him do something before I get on this slowly building hype train. I feel
I feel
before it gets anywhere.
You can't even to me though. Classics and Jacob are the best, and then that third spot probably up for discussion.
Yeah,
sure. It'd be cool to see. What if Epic Johnny showed up in one of those rosters somehow?
Ooh, you know what? Throw Epic Johnny in Classics and Jacob. I'm sold.
I like it. I'm sold. That's so good. That's good. But we got to remember, the Overzero story now is that he died and then he waited 3 seasons and he returned. They moved the boulder.
No.
No. Jesus says he has risen. Come on, it's so good. You guys are welcome. Thank you.
Upset.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. This is why we don't allow me on the. Shouldn't let me in here. All right. The last big. I mean, there were a couple other things. There's always good stuff. Again, folks, we grab a bunch of stuff. We see what we can talk about. Always good stuff on the Rocket League Esports subreddit. Always good stuff. If you hit top for the week, check it out on the Rocket League sub. We find a lot of crazy stuff out there. Gibbs posted a video on YouTube around results changing, around whether it's a best of 3, best of 5, 7, or 9 setup, and what those percentages of change are. It's not that long of a video, and I think you should put it in your queue and watch it later. It's only about 20 minutes long. But he went through and just talked about he actually did the math. So he did the math. Again, it's a big week for caster math, and I'm really, really impressed. Just a little bit of the results.
Bucks the trend when it comes to caster math consistently. So
I think it pretty much aligns with what you'd think. The fewer the games, the more chances there are for upsets.
Yeah.
It's bringing the numbers to what everyone intuitively thought was the truth. So it's good to see though. So you can say there's more than a 10% change from a best of 3 to best of 9. So the longer series go, the more likely it is for the better team to win.
Yep. We like to be able to confirm our biases with numbers. It's always
I'll throw those results into chat. The end results. Actually, I won't spoil the video for you. Go watch it. It's but the percentages are there, and exactly as we said, it basically.
Yeah. The one thing I would like to see that he didn't cover is if he and I'm thinking about maybe going back and doing this myself because I'm really curious to see is taking the best of 5 series and imagining it as a best of 3. So stopping at the end of game 3 and seeing does that change the results of matches and how often would that have changed the results? Because he went through statistically if you're doing a coin flip, what would happen? Which it's the right way to do it. It makes sense. But I'd be curious to see if you go back to some of these best of 5s where it went 4 games or 5 games, and you stop it at after the third game. Do you have a different winner than who ended up winning the whole thing?
Sure.
And how much of a percentage change did that happen? I'm in the camp of best of 5 theoretically should be the bare minimum that you play with, unless you're doing multiple groups and multiple eliminations. Then I think best of 3 is acceptable. I still prefer best of 5 though as the bare minimum. That's just me.
You don't like the rival week best of 7, best of 3, or best of 3, best of 7s?
I think that's overkill. It's cool. It's interesting and it's different. I applaud the thinking outside the box, but I think it's overkill. So for
how
me,
does that math in this scenario? How does that math work though? Do you multiply the result change there because you're now taking a best of 7? Is it technically? It's not a best of 21 because in theory you're closing a best of 7 out, but you do it 3 times. Yeah. I mean that's a confidence factor.
Yeah, I mean, I think you look at it from the 2 aspects. You're looking at it as a best of 3, but you're looking at how many games are being played across the board. The only real hang-up that I have with it, I guess 2 hang-ups, is it's really long, and then there's the potential that you could win more games overall. So if you win, say you win the first series 4-0, and then you lose the next 2 3-4, 3-4, you've technically won more games overall, but you've lost the series based on sets. But that's how tennis works, and a lot of people.
It's called Electoral College, Cloud. It's the popular.
I'm aware. I know how that works.
Oh my gosh.
But no, I mean, I think there's a lot of cool ways that you could do things, and I love conversations like these because it's people just complain about stuff like, oh, I don't like